A while back, we had a story about animation studios throwing out anime and losing the rights and not really caring about it, but eventually being picked up. Well, the Japanese government is going to try and prevent that by creating a national archive for anime and manga. So earlier in the year, or late last year, I forget where it was, but there was an anime studio just throwing stuff out like Astro Boy and very big name stuff from Evangelion and things of that nature. Well, the Ministry of Education, Culture, Sports, Science, and Technology talks about how they want to basically create a national archive with the creator of Evangelion, Anno. So let's take a dive and look at this article done by Sora News 24. A friend of mine sent it to me, but we're going to take a dive and we're going to react to it and read it live, and I'm going to discuss my feelings about it, because this is huge, especially since the KyoAni fire and we lost all of that. If they put something into protocol or something into the works where whenever an anime or manga is finished, whenever they finish a chapter or volume or something, they send it off to this archive so it can be saved so other creators can look and learn and, like read over and stuff, it would be huge, because it would stop things from being lost forever, like I said, what happened in the KyoAni fire all those years ago. So let's take a dive and see what they got to say. So the article starts out with, the Ministry of Education, Culture, Sports, Science, and Technology discussed this project with Evangelion creator Hideaki Anno. I think I said the name right, and, I'm struggling here. For their first several decades of existence, manga and anime were largely considered little more than inconsequential disposable entertainment. Sure, some hardcore fans were keen for in-depth discussions and multiple readings/viewings of older works, but for mainstream society, and particularly among academics, the attitude was largely, yeah, comics and animation may be fun, but they're not really important. Which, obviously, nowadays we know that's not the case, and how much they've actually helped people, how they've done different things, and the impact that anime and manga has had across society. Things are different in the modern era, though. It's pretty easy to make an argument that anime and manga are now the most vibrant and diverse sections of Japanese media, making them both a significant reflection of contemporary societal values in Japan, as well as being the nation's most prominent culture export. Unfortunately, the amount of time it took for this shift to happen means the acknowledgement of the value in preserving the art forms past comes after many years of the original anime and manga artworks being treated like most industrial waste. This is what I'm talking about, where companies were still in the mindset of just throwing stuff out because it doesn't matter, where you have people like me who are slowly saving manga and older magazines and stuff like that. Every chance I get when I come across them, I try to preserve them. This is where that's coming in. That's where that national database and where that archive is coming in to save all the previous works. There are tales of the anime studios back in the 1980s filling up entire trucks with cells to be taken to the dump. That's insane. Animation cells are getting thrown at. It's wild. Since once they'd been shot and aired, all those cells were just trash, so why bother keeping them? Which is insane to think about, but it's the same like video games. No one thought video games would be worth money or valuable to society, which is why no one was keeping them when they started coming out. Hell, even up into the 90s, people weren't even keeping them and trying to save them and all that, which is why we have the Video Game History Foundation and other people saving them. And that's where collectors come in too, because worst comes to worst, they just save it and donate it to a library or something like that, or not a library, a foundation, to help save these things. But not everything was thrown away, luckily, and now the Japanese Government Agency for Cultural Affairs, part of the Ministry of Education, Culture, Sports, Science, and Technology, wants to make sure that the remaining tangible pieces of anime and manga history can be preserved. On September 30th, members of the agency held a discussion whose participants included Evangelion creator Anno and manga artist Sadonaka, which the agency said it's planning to create a national archive of anime and manga art materials. In particular, the facility would be used to house anime cells and manga genga, the original drawings to which the publication versions of comics are produced. So this is where they're coming in. They're going to keep them at a low lit area to keep them preserved, because if you keep cells exposed to high UV from the outside and stuff, those naturally fade away and then they'd get destroyed. So they would have to make a special place for it, keep it in a special dimly lit area, that kind of stuff. But it's amazing that they want to do this now, because I don't even think about how many things have been lost. I mean, think about it. Anime started in the 40s, when it actually really became what it is today and started evolving. It started in the 40s. All that stuff's gone. That's been burnt, thrown out, destroyed. Some has survived, but 99% of it long gone. The archive will be staffed with skilled specialists trained in how to preserve the archive materials, which is what I was talking about before. Of course, the plan also requires the Agency of Cultural Affairs to acquire their artwork first, which would likely necessitate asking for pieces from publishing companies that have retained them or from private collectors, which this, like I said, those that have been saved, they've been sold off in private collections and stuff like that. So if people are willing to donate them to preserve them, that's great out of the pocket, but there's a chance they might have to rent it out, or they might have to buy it outright when it comes to this old stuff, which there are museums like the National Marine Museum here in Quantico in the United States. There are collectors that rent out their spaces. Like, the museum buys and rents the pieces from them and holds on to them for God knows how long. And then eventually they swap them out and return them to collectors and put new pieces in. It's kind of like that same idea I feel like they're probably going to go with. A site has been yet to be decided on, but creating the anime and manga archive with the National Film Archive's Sagamihara branch, I think that's how you say it, but has been presented as a possibility, with the timeline of the archive beginning formal operations within the next 6 years. The materials won't be locked in a vault and sealed away forever, as the agency plans to utilize the artwork to promote understanding and interest in anime and manga, in coordination with other institutions in both Japan and overseas, which is fantastic. If they can get an on-the-road, like, museum kind of going, which is what, like, the Nintendo Power Museum is, which shows all the different arts and stuff, it's on the road, it's not, like, a solitary piece. Or the History Video Game Foundation has people coming in. That's what they do with the, with their stuff. Or the Video Game Museum in Texas, they have people come in and do different displays and stuff. Like, it's a great idea for them to do that. The agency says that it's also considering including materials from video game and tokusatsu series. I don't know what that is. Hold on while I look this up real quick. Okay, I did a little quick research. Let's talk about stuff like Super Sentai, Ultraman, stuff like that, or Power Rangers for us in the United States and in the West. It's talk about saving stuff from that, which is even fantastic, because I know a bunch of people who are Super Sentai fans, Ultraman fans, that kind of stuff, and it's fantastic if they can save it all together in the archive, as well as possibly creating a viewing/displaying area in its own facility, which would be amazing. Though not specifically cited by the agency, the situation has certain parallels to the history of basically woodblock prints, which are these, which if they're found, they are expensive because everyone just burnt them and no one really does this art form anymore, because they're basically, their heyday was like the 17th, 18th century, and they were like amazing pieces of art like you see there, but they were just thrown out, burnt, or they were lost to time. And we lost a lot during World War II when, the bombings and all that stuff were happening. But yeah, like they were saying, the heyday is the 17th, 18th century into the early 19th century. They were mass-produced affordably in the focus of everyday life, where there was basically something similar to how anime and manga are now. They were that popular back then. But physical printings of them were not necessarily treated like a greater reverence. They didn't really care, like I said, they burnt them, they got rid of them, or we lost a lot to time. Later, with historians and art lovers took a renewed interest into these, many of them were destroyed, discarded, or taken out of Japan by visiting overseas collectors who strongly showed their interest. So that's another thing. A lot of people coming in, like me, I'll probably go over there and buy a bunch of stuff and bring it back. Stuff like that gets lost to time too. So, like, you got to reach out and find collectors and stuff like that. Anime and manga may have been commercial entertainment products, but you can't provide entertainment without striking a chord with the people's emotions and aspirations. If anime and manga serves as a representation of Japan's cultural values at this point in time, they are worth preserving for future generations to come across. This brings my point to preservation. I have been on this. This is one of the big things I always preach and talk about, and is one of the things my friends understand that what I do. There is a reason why I collect and save all these anime magazines, like the old Otaku USAs, stuff like that, new types, and then like the shoujo beats and stuff like that. I'm trying to preserve them and save them as best as I can, so that way they don't get lost to time. And then if they were to open up one here, I would probably just donate that stuff and be like, here's my part. This is part of my collection. I hope that you can be some use. So this is giving me hope. If they end up doing stuff overseas, I might look into it. We don't know. We'll find out. But this is fantastic. Like I said, with the Kyo Annie thing that happened, we lost so much history just to that. There's stuff with like Haruhi Suzumiya, Maid Dragon, stuff of that era we lost. Like from early Kyo to now, to Up to the Fire, we lost a good chunk of it that was not digitally backed up. All the physical stuff, all the old films, all the old animation stuff that they kept on, it was gone because some asshole was mad at some women. And unfortunately, there's nothing we can do. but this archive will help us save it and help for future generations to find this and be able to hold on to this media and hopefully inspire the next Akira Toriyama or the next Oda or something of that great like being. So with this, I am super happy with this news. Let me know what you guys think. And yes, I know this took place of a manga review, but this was something that's very valuable and needs to be put out, and it does affect manga reviews. It affects everything in the future. So let me know what you guys think. I love you all. I appreciate you all. Take care of yourself. Let's save some history, and I will see you all later. Bye-bye.